out there. It's good to see it at the full house early too. Normally we start this at about 8 o'clock and we'll have 3 people, and at 8:10 we have like 10 people, and at 8:20 we have 40 people. So if that trend continues today, we may be packing the room, and that's not all right. That's great. You guys are just smart once you found Starbucks Chick-fil-A early. That's what it normally is. People only are a little late with their coffee, so I'm glad you guys are here. We're going to run through some information today. There's a small PowerPoint keynote here that we'll run through, give you some basic information. We'll have plenty of time for questions. And that way we can address exactly what you'd like to know. Okay, some of you probably are a little more familiar with this than others. Some may have some specific questions, and I'll stick around afterwards in case you have any questions you'd like to ask, just kind of one-on-one after everyone else has to head off to the next session. Okay, so that's kind of what we have planned for this morning. My name is Scott Tobias. I'm the Director of Bands here at UCF, and we'll be discussing not only bands, but also choirs, orchestra, jazz, everything we have going on today. So any questions you have, please feel free to stop along the way, and we'll try to get to it as quick as we can. Here at UCF, we've got a music department that has approximately 350 music majors. We've got around 34 full-time faculty, approximately 15 adjunct faculty, and a number of activities throughout the year. I don't have the exact number on performances we do, but it's well into the hundreds by the time you put in all the recitals and all the chamber ensembles and all the major ensembles. It's a very active department, and there's a place for you somewhere. Okay, so let's jump right in and show you what we've got, and we'll see what questions you may have. Most frequently asked questions. Can you see that okay with the sunlight like it is this morning? Okay, it's a little bright with that window there. It's one of the most frequently asked questions we have. Number one, who can participate in music ensembles? So let's go ahead and get rid of some of the myths we have right now. You don't have to be a music major to be in music ensembles. People seem to think that in colleges for some reason. That's not the case. Obviously, we do certain things for our music majors. We have things geared towards our music majors, but we are very inclusive. We have as part of our philosophy that music's important for everybody. So if you're going to be a doctor, that's great. Come sing with us. If you're going to be an engineer, great. Come play your instrument with us. We're happy to have everybody around. So anyone, as long as you're a UCF student, regardless of your major, you can participate. Now, one catch is some of our ensembles do require an audition for membership. Some don't. So you have to look and see what you're interested in, and then see what the requirements are. Some of our ensembles have set instrumentation or set positions to function at the level they need to function at, and that's why we have auditions. But others are open, so just kind of figuring out which one you want to be a part of, and then see what the requirements are, and then go through that procedure to get in. Other big question we get: what credit is earned? The screen's almost. We've got most of it in there. So all the ensembles we have are actual classes. These are not registered student organizations. These are not extracurricular clubs. They're actually classes. They're part of the music department. And so if you are involved in one of these ensembles, you'll actually register for a class. You actually get academic credit for the ensemble. There's a syllabus for each ensemble that each professor will have available. You can look at them online right now if you'd like to outline what the requirements of the class are, how the grading system is handled, so you can look into all of that. If you're not a music major, if you happen to be one of those others, engineering, psychology, classical languages, then the ensembles will count towards your electives. So as you meet with your advisors and start looking at your program of study, you will see in almost every major here at the university there's an elective category at the bottom that's included in every major, and that's where these would fall. Unless you're a music major. Of course, if you're a music major, they count towards your major degree requirements. So that's what they are. But they are academic credit. You get 1 hour of academic credit for each ensemble. The only one that's an exception is the marching band gets a second hour, just because there's a little bit more time involved by the nature of what it does. Okay. All right. The one that the parents are most interested in. How much does it cost? Nothing really, other than tuition. Okay? Ensembles are classes, so when you register for the ensemble, you register for the class, you're paying the tuition for the class. It's no different than taking a 1 hour English elective or 1 hour chemistry elective. You're taking basically a 1 hour music class, you'll pay the tuition for 1 credit hour. Alright, so that's not really a hidden charge, that's what you would expect if you're doing a class. Beyond that, there really is very little you have to worry about. Each ensemble has its own attire requirements for performances. For things like the wind ensemble, the orchestra, the university chorus, chamber singers. Generally we use concert black, term we refer to it as. So gentlemen are wearing a tuxedo for those groups. So gentlemen, if they don't have a tuxedo, we need to either look into renting a tuxedo or maybe purchasing one. It's not going to change, I can tell you that. So if you're going to do it for 3 or 4 years, it's a good investment. You're going to have it the entire time. Ladies, it's usually going to be just a generic black dress outfit, a dressy black outfit. That would be a dress. Unless you're in the choir. If you're in the university chorus, Dr. Bruner does have a certain style of dress that he requires, that they actually, yes, they look uniform as you're standing. So you're looking at some kind of an attire.
Is it floor-length?
It is floor-length, yes. Floor-length. All right. Other groups like jazz band, concert band, those groups, because it's heavily populated with non-music majors, just as a matter of how it's done over the years, usually a black suit for the gentleman, but it doesn't have to be a tuxedo necessarily. And so if you're already on a black suit, then you're good to go. So that's really what you're looking at. Things like marching band, of course, the uniforms are provided, so don't need to worry about there. Simply black shoes. You don't have a pair of black marching shoes. You need to get your own black marching shoes, but everything else is provided. Even the majorette, color guard, dance team uniforms are provided. Beyond that, you can use university instruments if you need, at no cost to you. You sign a form saying that you'll take care of it, you'll put it back in good shape. Obviously, if it's damaged or lost, you're responsible for paying for it. But if you turn it back in good shape, there's no fee there. So really looking at it, once you pay the tuition for the class, there really are no fees except for maybe a pair of shoes here, maybe a suit here. You know, that's usually a one-time purchase that can actually work over the next 3 or 4 years, because we'll always end up wearing the same thing. Okay? There are no band fees, there are choir fees, there's no extra fee. If the group travels on official university business, such as the choir happens to be selected to play or to sing at ACDA convention or FMEA, a state convention, the university will pay those costs. If the marching band travels to the away football game, the university pays those costs. And the marching band went to the Fiesta Bowl back in December and January. University paid those costs. So that's something you have to worry about there. The only time you would actually pay out of your pocket is if we offer a extracurricular, optional kind of trip. If we were to do a European tour with one of the ensembles that's not directly related to a university activity, then we may have a charge that you have to look at. But it'd be an optional, voluntary type of thing. And we may do those sometimes. You know, the band may say we're going to do a small European tour, just for the heck of doing it. You know, and it'd be an optional thing that you'd pay for. But anything else that's actually curricular, there's no fee to look at. Okay? The other thing that people are interested in, how much time is involved. And depending on where you're coming from, not as much as you may think. Most of the ensembles rehearse twice a week. Orchestras on Monday and Wednesday. Wind ensembles Tuesday, Thursday. Chamber singers are on Monday and Wednesday. Usually it's 2 days a week. And usually most of these rehearsals are going to be anywhere from an hour and 20 minutes to 2 hours. Depends which ensemble you're in. Concert band, for example, is 2 days a week, an hour and 20 minutes each rehearsal. Chamber singers, 2 days a week, an hour and a half each rehearsal. So you're looking at no more than about 4 hours of rehearsal per week. Now, obviously, there'll be outside time that you'll have, practice on your own parts. You want to come to rehearsal prepared, but that amount of time depends on you. All right, so you can do that whenever you'd like. You can run over your flute part before you go to orchestra rehearsal, run over your vocal part before you go to choir. But that's your own time that you're going to put into that. But as far as official meeting time, you're looking at anywhere from 3 to 4 hours of rehearsal time per week. So not that much. Now, because of that, obviously, we work at a very fast pace, work at a very high level, so there is an expectation to be prepared when you come to rehearsal. But nothing that you're not familiar with already, having been in groups. Okay? Concerts per week or per semester. Usually 2 concerts is the norm for most groups per semester. On occasion, there'll be a third. Again, I mentioned if one of the groups is invited to play at a music educator convention or invited to play for the mayor's breakfast or something along those lines, there may be a third performance that's in there. But usually 2 is standard. Go about 6 weeks of prep time and a concert, 6 weeks and a concert, and that's pretty standard. Unless you're in one of the more advanced groups like the wind ensemble, the orchestra, jazz, those groups get invited to play places sometimes. Or sometimes Dr. Kip may invite us to do something here on campus that we need to play for. Okay? Marching band's a little bit different, but still not overwhelming. You will see marching band-wise on paper shows rehearsals on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 3 days a week, 6 o'clock p.m. until 8:30 p.m. That looks like a lot of time, but we don't use all of it. That's what we call weather time. Meaning that we'll get out there on Monday, go 6, usually till about 8, about 2 hours. Go Wednesday, usually 6 till about 8. Friday, if there's no football game on Saturday, we just won't do it on Friday. We'll just cancel it. We're caught up on everything. If there's a football game, a lot of times on Friday, we'll get out there, we'll run the pregame show. Everything's good. We'll run the halftime show. Everything's fine. See you tomorrow. And we're out of there in about 30 or 40 minutes. The reason I say weather time is because if we get a downpour on Monday and we lose all of our outdoor time on Monday, then we may need to use all of Friday's time. So we have it built in, so it looks like a lot more on paper than it actually really is, but it's built in just so you have that amount of time reserved. And then if we don't need it, we get rid of it. But if Mother Nature plays a trick on us, we use it. So don't be afraid of that. Performance-wise, you'll see it says 8 to 9 down here. We're looking at all the home football games, which usually is 5 or 6. We play an 11-game rotation right now, so usually it's 5 home, 6 away. The next year, 6 home, 5 away.